Last session picked up in the Cup and Rat Tavern in Dark Orchard, where the two adventuring folk, Theta and Kolas, were talking with the Hand of Aegis and Smokey, sharing a little bit of information, which Smokey mostly slept through and therefore hasn't really fully picked up on everything yet. Teda confirmed the presence of one or more extraplanar portals underneath the city. And they explained that the reason that... Well, not the reason, but they explained that they were in the Feywild, and when they came back, Drakesburg was a thing, and everyone seemed to know about it for always. But they did not. Silverius tries to caution Eska to maybe not give away all of the information straight away. Eska does not seem to agree. And eventually, everyone goes to sleep. The party agrees to meet up with Ted and Kolas at the Great Green in the city around lunchtime. There was talk of a picnic. Claire assists a young artist called Nini with her easel, and they Nini joins the group as everyone walks in.
Oh my gosh.
To the city.
Are you serious? We have another orphan?
Cosette gets talking to a trader who's sort of like set up on the edge of the road leading into the city, who asks for help ridding the voices from her head. Cosette gets no hit of Fey Fiend or Undead, and then walks away, apparently. As the Hand of Aegis enter through the north gate, they encounter their first weave worm, a large lizard with a very hyperactive tongue and a large sort of like lump type thing on the back. Cosette smiles way too much at the guards trying to walk in, so they kind of give her the pat down, and she realizes that her calligrapher's set has disappeared. The party enters the city, walks around a little bit in the South Walk region. Sees a few patrols moving through the city with more weave worms. Sees a few shopping places. Bardor picks up a little bit of pipeweed, but only enough for a few days. He needs to find somewhere with a proper supply. And enters a very overpriced sort of prestige sword maker or weapon maker. The weapons don't appear to be particularly formidable in combat, but boy do they look pretty. We end up moving down the river and ending up at the base of the Wormspire outer walls on the edge of the river. And it's about 10:30 in the morning. Alrighty, so yes, you are at the base of this huge, it's like 20, 30 feet tall.
Does the castle look inviting?
Oh,
well, we're at the back of it, right?
You're sort of at the back of it. I mean, like, you can't see the front entrance, certainly. And what you can see is at the where it kind of juts out into points at vague corners, although not in every case, because one of those is definitely just in the middle of the wall. There is a presence of Drake's Warden. You know, hard to make out fully, but you would guess maybe a half a dozen at each of those points. And the tower itself is very impressive looking. It's you know, it has like sort of there's multiple spires and
Larger.
some pretty impressive like flying buttress towers and that sort of thing. I guess inviting is very much in the eye of the beholder.
But I guess my question would be more, is it the kind of place that regulars walk into or tourists would walk into, or does it seem like it's functioning and hence guarded and you'd have to maybe get an appointment to go in there?
I see. I would say you probably need to judge that on the front gate.
Okay. That makes sense. It seems like we've come to an end of the road then, right? Do we need to turn around?
Nope.
Oh, you can slip past the back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so the circle was just where you were.
Yeah.
So we can actually just bloop. And so you can continue along there's a road or a path or a street, whatever you want to call it, that continues all the way along the river into the harbor area. And you can see from where you're at that there is a lot of traffic coming in from through the harbor wall, which realistically probably would kind of extend out a bit like the Dulcimer one. So it would probably kind of do something a bit like this as well. Who's there? Just to help against sort of storm surge and whatever else. But there's a lot of ships coming and going. It's, you know, like I said, mid-morning, so there's a lot of activity. And as you kind of move away from the more residential kind of hoity-toity area behind you in Southwark and move towards Drakesport, you can already hear noise levels picking up. The more perceptive in your group would pick up that even the street feels like, you know, you've gone from, you know, the streets in Southwark are probably very well maintained and were like nice big slabs of stone. We've kind of slowly migrated and now we're kind of in a more cobble type situation here as you get towards the port.
To that point of more perceptive, Esker probably will zone out slightly from whatever people are saying and just keep an ear out for interesting snippets of conversations from passers-by. She's not really expecting anything, but if anybody mentions, you know, any names that are recognizable or just mentions anything interesting going on that might pique our interest, should just be keeping a general ear out for that. I assume nothing will come up, but just in case it does.
Okay. Noted. So far, I mean, you haven't passed too many people, generally speaking. It seems like this specific path probably isn't taken that often. Relatively. It's, you know, it's probably... There probably just isn't typically that much need to go from the docks down this route specifically. Mm-hmm. And it's not... you know, it's not probably as wide as some of the other ones, which would be better for carts and that sort of thing. So
yeah, she probably, if we end up going sort of I don't know if we will, but if we end up going kind of through the docks, that would be specifically an area where she'd really keep an ear out.
Right. Yes. No, I would expect that. And if you're continuing along the path you're on, you'll be in the docks in about a minute or so. A couple of minutes.
Who's like leading?
That's an excellent question. Who's like leading everyone?
Not me.
I mean, I'll do it.
I'm kind of hanging a little bit back and slow and just very much observing the party.
I usually
think-
assume Bardor or Silvarius is in front.
I feel like if
if Bardor-
Silvarius was going to try and lead, hopefully one of us would be like, why don't you let Bardor lead? Because he's less noticeable.
Scaly.
Less scaly, yeah.
That's scaly.
Less
Well, see-
pushy.
Do we know where the park is at? I don't know if that was established or not, or how far away it is.
Yeah, you saw signposts to it. But you've moved away from that route. Based on the information you saw, and of course you weren't here when that happened, so but there's over here is 5 points. I'm trying to it's the Bright Coin Pentagon is what it's called, where these 5 streets meet. There's like a little collection of small vendors there. That's where you picked up your little bit of pipeweed. And from there, you could see a signpost that indicated that coming down this way would lead towards Great Green.
Okay, so all right.
But then the party decided to go down to the river and explore there. And you know that you have whatever, like I said, it's
Yeah.
10:30ish, so there's plenty of time to circle back around.
But it's like the city isn't so big that we think it would take like 2 hours to walk there.
No.
Okay.
No.
Good to know. Yeah, I mean, well, I will lead the way, and just try not to look too conspicuous or draw attention / not yelling at people for random occurrences. Silvarius.
Let me get a group persuasion check.
Group persuasion. And really quick question, Rich, and I guess Spencer. Did Eska and Cosette share like what they learned about Teta and Colas?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And I was like super tired last time. I'm
Oh
having
no,
trouble recalling.
I am not very good at this.
Oh shoot, persuasion.
16. I'm surprised.
Oh yeah, there it is. I rolled a 1 for a -1.
Oh yeah, so far it's a problem with this 13.
8 for me.
It's so impressive.
I'm saying, yeah.
I don't think I've seen zeros before. I don't know if I've seen a negative one. Because usually most people don't go below an 8.
It sounds like you actually are going down the street shouting at people.
He's just shoving
It's-
people out of the way if they're like in front of him.
Yeah.
Apparently, this
Babies
tobacco
and carriages.
quality is just very inferior.
What is the equivalent of hangry for someone who wants good tobacco? Because that's probably what Bardor is right now.
Withdrawal.
Puffery.
Yeah, I don't.
Puffery, yes, there we go.
Puffery?
Yes.
Um,
Leave comments below, folks.
but anyway, so let's just say it's a good thing you have your colleagues with you, because in general, that was pretty successful. But off rage, yes, I like that. And then let me also get cassette. Let me get a history or insight, your choice.
Okay, we're gonna. A 16 total.
Okay. I would say your your upbringing and understanding of the noble way, and just kind of like almost subconsciously just like eyeballing the castle and the walls, you would, without even needing to go to the front gate, you would probably just guess that this is a very active, heavily fortified castle. And you would think that there is no way that you would get through the front door without someone vouching for you, essentially.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just, you know, you almost just casually kind of thinking as you're walking past and eyeballing, like, oh yeah, that's a lot of cards. This is, you know, they're taking it seriously. You've probably had some experience with some of the smaller, like, country estates that, you know, guards are ceremonial.
Yeah. So she'd probably just kind of not talking to anybody in particular. Just kind of share that as not just the front gate, you know. Saying that out loud.
And speaking of ships, you round the bend and you get to the point where the river empties into the harbor, and in front of you see the huge walls blocking off the angrier sea wavy things. To your left you see the incredibly busy and bustling Drakesport. To the right, looking beyond the wheat green, you see the far less active light docks. Drakesport, you can see, is definitely receiving larger ships. Those familiar with heraldry, which probably would be a few of you, would probably recognize a couple of notable families being represented on the ships from up and down the Sword Coast. There's a, you know, a healthy amount of trade going on here. The ships at the light docks definitely on the smaller side, a lot more understated. And you notice a fairly hefty presence of Drake's Warden again in the docks. And there at there's a pair of guards at the end of every sort of entrance to the what's it called? Jetties? Is that the right word? Is that the word I want? Does that sound like a good word for this?
Sure.
Words are great.
At the end
You've got great words.
At the end of every jetty, there's we're going with that now. There's at minimum 2 guards. Some of the bigger ones, where some of the bigger ships are either docked or approaching, would have 3 or 4 guards. And you know this is kind of in keeping with expectations of what you've heard about Drakesport. And I guess I would say too, you do notice as you kind of get into this area, you're now getting a lot of people starting to just kind of sell stuff on the side of the streets. Fresh goods right off the ship in some cases. Some stuff you see like being put onto carts and sent into the city. But some stuff is basically off a ship and into someone's hand on the docks, ready to sell immediately.
Is there anything appropriate that one could buy for lunch in a picnic situation? We can pick up lunch while we're here.
What sort of things are you looking for?
I don't know. I'm assuming a lot of what's coming in is fish, but anything that's not raw fish.
I mean, there certainly is raw fish. But if you're willing to put in a little bit of time, I'm sure you could find some other things.
Claire whips out a shopping list.
I mean, it was just if there's anything that one could eat without having to prepare, then that would be...
Like some on-the-go foods?
Yeah.
Okay.
Breads. Maybe somebody's importing some cheeses or, some... Even if it was like smoked fish or something, although I don't think, I'd imagine they would do that in the town, so I don't know if there's vendors that sell stuff that's come in and then they've kind of prepared it that morning or anything.
Exotic
kind of thing.
fruits from other parts of
Fruits is
land.
good. Yeah.
Maybe like a little burger shack, like Drake's Burger.
Drake.
No, that's inappropriate picnic food.
Oh.
Wow. A Drake's Burger.
Well, now we can't blow up the
That's,
city. Good gracious.
I had never considered that was a thing. I mean, it is now, clearly.
That's more like inner city. We're like down at the harbor, which is obviously gonna have more bougie shit.
Right. I mean, no, they're they're revitalizing the area. Give it some time.
Okay. Well, so yes, you give me whoever is hunting for the goods. Give me. I'm assuming it's probably more than one of you, so one of you can just give me an investigation with advantage.
Maybe I would help. Maybe I would help Claire, and Claire could roll.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have the worst
I probably do have the worst
nobody
investigation.
likes
So
my quality of food, so
Eska's sort of pointing at stuff to try and help Claire, but I feel like Claire knows what she's doing.
Claire obviously enjoys food, given her fluffy stature.
She's shown appreciation of it while we've been places. So.
I mean, pocket pastries. She obviously has
Yeah.
Oh,
There we
thank
go.
God. It's either going to be a 4 or a 23.
The 4 is Eska keeping pointing to inappropriate things, and the 23 is Claire.
looks like a 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 1 and a 20 is what it
I
is.
rolled
Yeah.
it literally a 1
Oh,
and a
wow.
20.
Oh wow, okay.
Which is beautiful. That's what advantage is for right there. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it takes you a while to look around, but you do find a few stores that offer you some options. You have to kind of step back from the very front, or like the front street, where a lot of stuff is fresh and in some cases still flopping around a bit. But once you go down a couple of the smaller streets, you find a little bakery called Melwyn's Pastries. And inside, you find pretty much every type of small handheld pie you can imagine. Sweet and savory. Pasties, pies, little sausage meat wrapped in little plaited pastry. You've got things that would look very similar to like a donut and a bear claw. There's all kinds of confectioner's sugar used in one side of the bakery, and then just lots and lots. Everywhere there's been a healthy amount of fat that's gone into making this pastry. So you can probably get a lot of good eats there. What sort of thing are you looking for? Anything appeal there?
Oh, all of the above, one of everything.
Yep, one of each.
I would say, especially if you let Claire and Cosette enter into a place like this, given our track record with the pies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And pies on the go? This is better.
Right?
All right. So give me a dollar amount of how much you're looking to spend here.
Ooh. Yeah. Let's see. How much we
Or
working
are we
with
playing bulk rules?
Right? Like,
You have weight limit. Asking for a friend.
can we get a bulk discount?
You could probably try.
I think we would want to buy, we would want to try everything, but I do think
Yeah.
we only have so many people.
And so many
Various can
hands.
only eat so much. Even though we're over.
Okay. So, I would say for 5 gold, you can get together enough for basically 2 to 3 savory items per person, presumably including colas and teta, because well, you tell me. Are you also buying for them?
Yeah, that seems.
Yeah.
And then you can also get like 1 sweet item per person for this too. So, you're getting a lot here. Basically, one of you will be carrying a large basket for the remainder of your walk.
Also, it's probably not helping that we're probably starving.
No.
Guess it was
Right. Yes.
the meal we had last night. And I think breakfast
Yes,
was
the meal.
still.
It was probably the same thing, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the same thing.
I'm hoping that the bear claws are owl bear claws, so slightly bigger.
Slightly bigger and with feathers carved into the pastry.
No, that is a perfectly reasonable deal, I feel like. And Claire will actually pay that out of her personal gold.
And as you leave Melwyn's, you look over the road and you see Delwyn's Pastries, which looks incredibly similar.
So while they're shopping for pastries and goodies, and we can come back to this, but Smokey would be observing people like passersbys, and anything. If anybody has anything that's like small and flashy and dangly, that's like kind of catching the sun or shining, he would try to get it off of them, like steal it.
Okay.
If they look, if they also kind of look more affluent.
Okay.
He's not gonna try to steal from poor people.
roll for me both perception and insight. Yeah.
Perception is a 14, and insight, you said?
Yes.
And a 17 for insight.
Okay.
Could Sylvaris be keeping an eye on Smokey?
Yeah, I would think so. Roll a perception.
He did not follow into the pastry shop.
No, he did not.
Wait, we're in there unsupervised?
Oh,
I mean,
we're
How do
gonna
you think
spend
you just
10
bought
gold.
so much?
Oh boy.
That's a 4. Very unperceptively.
Who's carrying the giant wicker basket of baked goods?
Hopefully Cassette.
I mean, either or.
Oh yeah,
Claire's pretty
Claire's got some muscle as well, doesn't she?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
she's
Claire.
she's a stout little girl.
Yeah. They both got muscles.
Or we just make Sylvaris carry it, just for shits and
I mean, that-
giggles.
Denied.
Also, Eska, you stayed out as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. One thing you do pick up on is a couple of times you hear, because foot traffic is definitely significantly higher here. You hear a couple of people talking about the Day of Deliverance.
That's ominous. And that doesn't ring a bell?
No,
Okay.
no, it does not.
Sorry, it was Day of Deliverance.
Yes, Day of Deliverance.
Well, do they seem happy or worried?
Roll insight.
That'll be... Oh, never mind. That's a natural one for 5.
It is hard to tell. It mostly because hustle and bustle, and you're
catching the
mostly
stray
just kind of
words.
picking up the phrase,
Okay.
and you're not really able to listen to one conversation for very long because you're just standing there.
Yeah.
But on 3 or 4 occasions, you hear the phrase come up while you're waiting for the girls to come out of the baker's.
Okay.
Or does this just relate back to Eska's lack of communication skills, like the hand signal episode?
Which one?
I know. Well, yeah, multiple,
All of
like,
them.
all of the above.
So Smokey, you've seen a few people who could make interesting marks. You do think that there's a reasonable number of there's a reasonable number of guards around. But as far as potential people, yeah, no, there's definitely some people with money strolling around here for sure, back and forth, to and from the docks. So really, it's just a case of finding someone that you think would be most appealing. So Varys, you do see Smokey kind of looking around a little bit. You kind of just put it down to natural curiosity, though. Doesn't seem to be anything too untoward going on.
Fair.
So Claire and Cosette, you come out of Melwyn's and see opposite Delwyn's pastries. Looking through the window, it's like a mirror image of where you just were. There are, one side is clearly dominated by more savory looking items. The other side is clearly sweet items. You can almost feel your teeth rotting slightly at the amount of sugar that's wafting out from that bakery.
It's like a Pat's
Yeah.
and Gino's cheesesteak kind of rivalry.
You suspect that that's a possibility. They have almost identical signs above their stores. And just kind of like looking as you come out, it looks like Melwin's is maybe getting a little bit more foot traffic. So, maybe made the right choice.
Are the realities blurring? In one reality, it's on one side. And on the other reality, the store's on the other side.
Ooh.
Oh no.
That'd be
Some
scary.
reverse.
We solved it. Wrap it up, guys. Got it. Mystery solved.
That's going to be Phil's excuse anytime he gets the name wrong or something. or an accent.
Nailed it.
He's going to be in this reality. In the realities are blurring, and
Well, you see,
There's
he had that
10
accent in
different
reality in
dimensions.
timeline 1, but he has this new accent.
Because of the traumatic brain injury.
Plus, it's like Jet Li's the one. There's a different version of everybody on every different universe.
yep.
Well, so that could explain Cater's shifting accent, though, is the trauma of traveling dimensions.
He's just constantly.
He forgot his own accent.
Yep.
He's hunting down other caters to become strong.
Exactly.
It really is the dead branch.
I guess the same thing happened to Eska, I guess.
Yes. Did
As we're-
did Smokey actually steal something, or has Smokey just noticed something so far?
He's just noticed things so far. I haven't attempted to steal from anybody yet.
He's window shopping.
Yeah.
Waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah. Really, he'd be interested to see if like anybody accidentally drops loose change, or like something more falls that's kind of easily gone unnoticed because of the hustle and bustle. And then he would try to sneakily pick it up.
Okay. So, yeah, just as Claire and Cosette come out, you do see someone does indeed drop a small leather pouch. They don't seem to have noticed.
Okay, he'll try to look and see if anybody else has seen anything before he sneaks over to pick it up.
He does not see anybody currently.
Okay. He's gonna go for it.
Okay, give me a stealth roll or a sleight of hand, either. Or.
Natural 20.
Oh, how convenient.
The first of many.
I will take a picture.
And put it up every time you roll a natural 20.
That's right. That's right.
You roll this dice in the same spot, like every time. It's truly amazing.
What sleight of hand?
That
is
wood grain has been there every
23
picture.
And
I know it's
so
unlikely.
26.
I know it's unlikely, but I'm kind of curious if Eska notices. Oh, I'd have to roll 26.
You can,
I'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you.
I don't think I'm going to notice.
I don't think you're going to notice.
That's
either,
pretty
to be
high.
honest.
That's yeah. I'll just assume that Eska
Certainly,
doesn't.
your passive wouldn't have called that. So unless
Yeah.
you were intentionally looking around.
No.
Yeah.
I think I'd have needed a badge roll.
Okay. Can you, Angie, roll for me a D100?
No, but how can I do that with the dice I have?
Just roll me a D10 twice and tell me what you get.
Probably the first number as your tens
Indeed.
value. We had in our in-person game, we joked. It was like, there's no way we're gonna roll a 100.
What's
And
a percent? Sorry.
well, yeah, it's the same thing as your D10s.
Well, we were really joking that we were like, what would happen if it was 000? And we were like, well, don't worry, it won't be 000. And then he rolled a 000, so we had to look it up.
I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's 100, isn't it?
I can't remember what it was in the end.
It depends on my understanding is that is 100, but like some people like it to show up as 100 as 100, even though.
But that's
one.
that's 10 or 1, depending on where the zeros are coming from.
See the confusion?
Yeah, it is slightly more complex. There was a whole article on it, so.
I guess normally 00 would be between 1 and 10.
Yeah.
Normally,
Well,
yeah. I think the exception
it would be
is...
right. Okay, yeah, I'll allow that there is some confusion.
Okay, it's 13.
13. Okay. So you pick up a small pouch. You have it.
Okay.
Looking around, you don't think anybody has noticed anything.
All right. I just tuck it in a pocket, and I'll look at it later.
Alrighty.
Nothing to see here, folks.
You can put down mysterious pouch. Alrighty. So, you have now some food. What is the plan? Are you gonna head back to the docks, somewhere else? What's appealing?
So, just curious, because I remember there being a floating building before. Where was that located at? Was that above the green zone? That was south of us?
Yes, exactly right. It's due south. Right now, in the street you're in, it's quite narrow. And you probably do not have a visual on it. Just because, most of the buildings here in this section are at least 2 stories.
Okay.
So,
And was it determined that was a what that was specifically?
Nope.
Oh, okay. It just obviously looks important floating up in the sky. Okay.
You're just aware that there is a building floating up there, yes.
I mean, I think I'd just be happy continuing to loot brand and see what we come across. But if anybody has a more direct approach they want to take, that's all good as well.
The only other thing Claire would be looking out for would be either, a couple bottles of wine or a couple flasks of beer for the picnic later.
Mm-hmm.
Would be the only other
Okay.
thing on her agenda. She's very picnic oriented, so.
You'd probably want to be heading back to the docks, and then maybe you could ask around for a specific location.
So, yeah. But she's content to just, carry the basket and wander with the group.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd keep my eyes out for any other place that looks like it actually would sell some decent tobacco-ish product.
Yes. Understood. Oh, I just whacked my mic stand. Okay. So if you head back kind of towards the rowdier hustle and bustle area of the docks, and then kind of look around, you do notice that there sort of tends to be a little bit of a clustering of trades happening. So, like the people who are all selling the floppy fish are in one section. People who are selling like prepared and salted fish are then next over, and so on. So chances are, if you look around, you'll find you'll soon find someone that like basically a big alcohol section and a carpet section and what have you. So let me. I think you guys are going to be really big if I drop you on the map, right? That's massive. Can I shrink you? Yes, I can. Brilliant. So right now, I have to do that. So right now you're about there. In the sort of back in towards the edge of the dock. And you're sort of each looking with very different interests. And by that I mean, I think Silverius is just walking around with no interest in any of the food or tobacco or alcohol right now. Smokey's probably maybe still got an eye for anything else that just happens to fall off the back of a absent-minded person. And as you sort of come around towards the like the next road, major kind of looking road here, that's sort of mostly covered by your name badge there. You see someone talking to one of the salesmen. They are they look to be selling maybe small barrels of something. And as you're watching, the conversation looks like it's maybe getting a little heated, and all of a sudden it calms down. But as soon as it calms down, you yeah, I can never remember. Passive perception. Who's got, let's say, 13 or higher?
I do.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do not.
I assume that was probably at least not Cosette and Silverius and maybe everybody else.
It's just
That's
10
'cause-
plus your skill rating, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone apart from Cosette and Silverius, you notice very quickly. This is happening quite close to the end of one of the jetties. There are 4 guards there and 1 weaveworm. And as soon as the yelling stops, weaveworm becomes very agitated. You see its dark green scales suddenly start to pulse and flash. There's like almost like like bioluminescent waves, almost like the images of like nerves going down a neuron, where you kind of get that like light that kind of goes beep, 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 down the line. You see that down the flank of the weaveworm, and then the bump on its back suddenly turns into this huge fin. as it becomes fully agitated. And you see it goes from just like a bump on its back to suddenly this huge flap of weird scaly leather. The bearing in mind that these creatures are sort of like 6, 7, 8 feet long. The fin is 5 feet tall off the ground. That just kind of like goes the length from just like the base of its neck all the way down to like the start of the tail. And it's also, whereas the rest of the creature is this dark green usually, the fin is sort of like a bright yellow. Its tongue starts flickering out, and it starts scurrying towards the guy and the merchant. And the guards hurry over very quickly, with spears drawn, and surround it. You guys do anything while that happens? It's probably happening like only 10 or 15 feet from you.
Freeze.
Yeah, are we...
Okay.
I'm suspecting that this is... somebody did some magic. So, I'm curiously watching to see what the results are.
Okay. So, 2 guards remain at the jetty. 2 come over with the weaveworm, and then a couple more come running around the corner, weapons drawn, and they quickly converge on the guy who's kind of like looking around, panicked. The trader you see looks a little bit surprised and, you know, says, what seems to be the problem? And you can hear the guard say, hold on a minute. Just stay there. You'll know soon enough. And while they kind of like wave the trader off, they quickly put manacles on the guy. And you notice the manacles, they attach around the wrist, but they also clamp fully around the hands. So it's like, it's basically like iron mittens is what's happening.
Ooh.
Or at least metal mittens. I don't know that you could necessarily determine the metal.
Bad name.
But some sort of metal mittens are put on this guy. And one of the guards says, you have been found guilty of using magic inside the walls of Drakesburg. Do you have anything to say in your defense? And the guy's just like looking around. He just wasn't giving me a good deal. I couldn't afford his prices, but I needed it. Really? You just wanted to save some money? And you see the weaveworm is kind of drooling a little bit. Make anyone who is trained in it make an Arcana roll.
Ooh, 19.
Not bad.
13.
Okay. You would both feel this. There is like a weird soupy feel in the air. And not like the crap you were given for dinner and breakfast. Like, it's kind of thick. Thick and gloopy, like the air is.
So North Carolina.
Yes.
Okay.
very much like that. When you've been inside air conditioning all day and then you go stand outside for like 10 seconds.
Ooh.
That's what it feels like. But it's not heat and it's not humidity. It's the very weave around you is being distorted or possibly even sapped away slightly. Very, very strange feeling. And you just, you look back at this lizard that's still glowing and still having those little, the little, like, light blips down its sides. And it's just looking hungrily at the guy now with his little mittens on. And there's just kind of a pause. And eventually the trader says, "You use magic on me? You bastard." And there's a sort of a dawning as whatever the guy did wears off. And the guards turn to the trader. "I assume you want us to deal with him?" And the trader says, "Oh, absolutely. Get him out of my sight." And with very little hesitation, the two guards who ran around the corner and caught up grab the guy either side and start marching him off in the vague direction of the center of town. And the two who came over with the weave worm spend a second, and one of them kind of just chats idly with the trader. One of them kind of like crouches down in front of the weave worm and like gently pets the side of his head. And you see slowly the different coloration starts to fade, and the big fin slowly starts to sink back down. And he kind of loses some of the manic look that he had. And once he's completely back to his dull green shade, the two of them head off back towards the end of the jetty where they were stationed. I mean, the whole thing probably took, a minute, maybe two.
How did the crowd around everything, would it be as suspected, kind of like they cleared out and gave them all their room type situation?
Certainly there was nobody trying to get close. Much like yourselves, there were quite a few people watching. As far as sort of general murmurs, you hear people who are just kind of like, "There's always one. Someone's got to try and push it." You do get the impression that maybe that was the first time for some people actually seeing this happen. They'd heard about it, but not necessarily something they'd witnessed before. But, so it kind of comes to an end, and everyone just kind of goes back to what they were doing.
Esker just says, "Well, that is a worry if we get into trouble."
I thought the village with Riskin was bad. This is terrifying.
Would Smokey know that this is, or have heard anything about this? Like this kind of not being able to cast magic in this area?
Yeah, he would know of the weave worms. I'm sure it would have been mentioned.
Indeed.
Okay.
And would have had warning to not use magic inside. The the city walls. At least, certainly not if you know that there's a weave room nearby. Now, you were probably given the if you need to, and if it's life or death, or if you're not gonna get caught. Maybe, but yes.
Okay.
It's
And you said there was other people around that seemed to be learning this for the first time, or is it
not
more
necessarily learning, but witnessing.
Okay.
That said, in the docks there will certainly be people who are in Drakesburg for the first time and probably didn't know that.
Okay. So it wouldn't be unusual to me that the rest of the party is not in the know. Like, I wouldn't find it strange that they hadn't heard.
I mean, possibly it's something that he would think is curious. That they are as perturbed, and that
Okay.
maybe they, yeah.
After Claire, mentioned that like terrifying, kind of like, or more terrifying than where Riskin was from. He's just gonna mention like
the aura around that creature. Not felt something like that before.
You felt it too.
he nods his head.
She'll just look around at the others. Did anyone else feel it?
That was just something that Silvarius and Claire felt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was certainly something that they were more aware of. I think
They're probably
because,
pointing it out now.
Yeah, I think all of you have some magical capabilities, right? You would probably all have felt like, at the very least, the hairs on the back of your neck sticking up and feeling just that little bit off. But it wasn't felt as intensely as Claire and Silveris, who were perhaps a little bit more trained in understanding how magic and the weave works.
Got it. It was a little strange.
Strange indeed. Almost stifling.
I felt like I was gonna choke on the air.
And it is clear that we do not need to stretch our
And he quiets down a little bit.
ability.
So you do not know of these creatures?
Not entirely. We are not.
What is it? Drakesburgians.
Drakesburgers, I think, is the
Drakesburgers.
accepted term.
Not to be confused with Drakesburgers.
Correct.
The franchise.
Yes.
But no, this is our first visit to Drakesburg.
Well, it is mine too, but I've at least heard of these things.
Perhaps you can fill us in more.
Wherever these creatures are, you do not cast magic. Rule number 1.
And what is rule number 2?
There is only one rule.
Okay. Just checking.
Rule number 2: follow rule number 1.
Since you're the expert, what exactly is it that they do?
Do I know what they do?
I think probably you would have heard all sorts of rumors and hearsay and superstitions about these creatures. People claiming they suck out your soul, that they eat people whole, that they just sap the world of life and energy and fun. You've probably heard all sorts of weird outlandish things about them, because they're just the sort of creature that generates that kind of buzz.
Okay. Well, rumor has it, they take you into a dungeon and they drain you of your magical energies. It's terrible.
It's not making me want to stay here for very long.
I mean, it's okay. Just don't use magic. And then once you're away from here, it's okay.
You haven't known us too long, but not doing magic is something we're not very good at.
Doing magic is something you're not very good at.
Not doing magic is not something that we're very good at.
Okay, I was
Not
trying to make sure I heard that right.
Not doing magic.
No magic, no. Not. We like magic.
Who doesn't? But when in
Well.
Drakesburg, don't do it.
And there was this town. That's a different story for another time.
It definitely makes me feel like we should be keeping a low profile as much as we can and get in, get out. Because if we run afoul of the guards, we are in big trouble.
So
More
we're
so-
not
more so-
sightseeing or picnicking?
No, I just mean after that.
Uh-huh.
Just no, like,
I-
breaking and
Let's not stay here for a week. Yeah. Keep each other in check of the interesting habits we all have.
For some people who are so eager to get here, you are so eager to leave now. This doesn't make sense at all.
Yes, that is a good point.
Claire,
Yes.
as this conversation's going on, you're trying to pay attention. But there's something in your head that's just nagging at you. The man was selling barrels of something.
Oh.
That's it. Carry on.
Well, I mean, I guess if we're in this district.
You are in that district.
I
It's true.
hope that you do that to Claire every few sessions. You just randomly... something in your head. The man was selling barrels.
Barrels of something. But what was it? What could it have been?
There were barrels of monkeys.
Was it fish? Was it spices?
If only there was a way to figure it out.
Spicy fish.
Oh man, though. I don't... On the one hand, I'm like, yes, she wants beverage for the picnic. On the other hand, I'm like, that man also just sent off a person for using magic, and now she's scared.
She's like, wine. No, prison.
What if he knows I have magic? What if he can just tell?
Because that's... She doesn't really say anything, but I think just her reaction is like shaken. Gary getting in. But settled in, went shopping, got some food. Like, it was just kind of getting comfortable. You know, come back to reality. She's just kind of be scared.
Yeah, I'd have to say it's probably pretty similar for Claire. That she was feeling comfortable and a little calmed down with like wandering around and getting like the lay of the land and everything, but this is a little jarring and overwhelming for someone who's already a little nervous about a lot of things and a lot of new things. So I for the moment, I think probably thoughts of what she had planned to look for to buy has probably gone out of her head.
Shall we continue to walk on? I don't really want to be here anymore. And when I say here, I mean right here.
Wherever we go, I say that we steer clear of the worms.
I agree.
I am not sure how far they can pinch things, but
Smokey?
better safe than sorry.
Any ideas, Smokey?
Of what?
How far they can sense things?
Do I know that, Phil?
Nah, probably not.
I didn't think so. No idea. All of my knowledge is hearsay. And rumors.
And where exactly did you hear these rumors?
Oh, all over. my family and me, we have a ship and we sail all up and down the coast.
So you are saying that you've been here for some time?
Yes. I am from this area. I am born and raised around here. Not in Drakesburg, but
But you have known of Drakesburg your entire life.
yes.
He just kind of does like a quick eye back to the group.
I mean,
Smokey, make an
who
insight check.
hasn't?
Make an insight check.
Yep.
Alright. $19.
All right, that was a weird question he asked you.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, the safaris is just weird. So
I'll be honest. The fact that Eska then jumped to help Silvarius may have made it worse.
So, are you guys from a different plane of existence?
I like that's the logic. It just went to not like, you know, a different region.
Are you from a
Like,
different world?
Just a whole different world.
Because who hasn't heard of this area? Who doesn't know it?
I'm from up north.
And I myself am from very up north.
And I'm from the Dalelands. I'm, what is it, like 1,000 miles away?
Yep.
I'm gonna kind of walk around kind of away from Smokey a little bit and to the rest of the group and be like, this is why we don't pick up random people.
So this is your first time traveling?
No, not traveling per se, but a lot of us, this is our first time in the Delzimer and Drakesburg region.
Okay. Smokey just kind of scratches his head because he can't imagine not having kind of been far and wide.
You clearly look perplexed. Not all of us are coastal travelers as yourself.
Where do you hail from?
Well, we just kind of always traveled around. I don't really know exactly where. We're not stationed in one area.
Born on a boat?
Yes. We are on the boat, and we are always on the move. Occasionally, we pick somewhere, we settle down, take a little break, but then we get back on the boat and we go somewhere else and do the same. So kind of just always moving up and down the coast.
You say we, but who do you mean? Do you mean with Captain Adad?
No. With my clan, my family.
But you're not with them.
I am on a mission for the clan right now. It is a solo journey.
Are we getting in the way of that mission, or?
Certainly not.
I was going to ask if it was important, but I don't think I've heard of an unimportant mission.
This is true, me either.
Is it a private matter?
Yes.
Oh. Is it evil?
No.
Good. Good.
Come on,
that is a
Eska, no
relief.
one would admit to it being evil.
Insight check. No.
Bardor, make a perception check for me.
Oh man, evil.
Being presents!
Okay.
Okay, perception. Here we go. I push the button. There it is. Whoop, whoop. 18.
All right. So I imagine while this conversation's happening, and you even said you kind of like walked around a little bit just because you were chastising your colleagues. I feel like Bardor probably is going into his almost involuntary scan sweep, just looking around. You think it's possible someone is watching your group. No one of the Drake's wardens, but you think there is someone over in the docks. A fairly rundown looking female halfling who you have just caught kind of looking over in your general direction more than once.
Does she look familiar?
Don't believe so.
Okay, well, I'll try not to be noticeable myself, but I will kind of interrupt the group. Say it looks like we're being maybe being watched from the dock.
Not again. Shall we walk and talk?
Probably better that way.
Normally I would do some kind of magic and try and catch them, but maybe not today.
All right. Bardor, are you gonna kind of take point for the walking away from the dock, or?
Yeah, and
Well, I assume it's away.
I'm kind of. And I'm gonna start walking in the direction of the park or whatever we're supposed to go to.
Okay. So yes, in that case, your best bet would be kind of to come like this way, and then kind of vaguely it's got to be kind of east.
Okay.
And this.
Well, I was about to say, as we're starting to kind of head that way, Savaris will kind of like walk up to Bardor and just like in a lower, like he's looking away from kind of where they're heading, but in a lower voice. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
What did you see? Who was it? Where?
Some halfling over by the dock. Didn't recognize her, but she kept looking over this way.
Allow me to lead us wherever we are heading. Keep your eye out. I'm well aware how perceptive you are.
Okay. I'll sort of, I guess, drop back a bit then, and just kind of like look around and try to be discreet about it. Not necessarily looking at her, who was watching us, but to see if anybody else was kind of tailing us or watching us or something like that.
Okay. Give me a fresh perception check then, as you start heading through.
Here we go. Uh, 14.
Okay. As you head off, you don't notice, or you don't see, that person leave. They seem to have remained where they were.
Does it look like she's still kind of looking our way, or?
Gets a little hard to tell. Gets a bit crowded. Maybe there's a little glance as you kind of disappear out of view.
Right. Okay.
I guess while they're doing that, Esker will keep talking to Smokey and just say, are you looking for something?
Perhaps.
I just... Excuse my curiosity, but it is just that... trying to work out how serving on a small ship running between islands is of use to you. Such a mission.
Wait, what?
You are on this mission. I was curious how serving on this ship you are on that seems to be making small journeys is helping your mission.
Oh, this is for temporary.
I see.
That's to pay my way to get over on this side of things.
I see. Well, if you ever want to share any more, maybe we have some insight into it. But I understand your need to stay quiet. You've only just met us. Why would you reveal everything about your circumstances?
This is true. You guys are not revealing to me what is going on with you.
We're just doing some sightseeing.
Mm-hmm.
That's partially true.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so party gets to about here. And you see that the road heading east appears to open up into a large courtyard area. put you right here. So now you are standing at one edge of a large open courtyard. To your left, you have the Wormspire. And you see the heavily fortified front gates. Massive. Looks like probably like iron-banded wood reinforced doors. They're currently open. There's also clearly a very large, heavy portcullis, at least one, that you can see is able to be lowered. And standing at the base of the open doors, you see 12 Drake's Guard, like 6 on either side of the doors. And then there's probably a couple of dozen up on the walls, looking down into the sort of plaza area, courtyard. In the center of the courtyard, there is a sculpture. It's very clear what that sculpture is, even from where you're at. You're not kind of looking at it front on, but it is obviously a sculpture of a pretty sizable sculpture of a dragon. For size reference, you would say probably about the same size that Kindrith was, give or take.
That was the gold dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
The dragon is standing on hind legs, wings raised in a very dynamic pose, front legs kind of up and like that.
Rawr.
Rawr. And it's pointing away from the castle. So it's sort of positioned to defend the castle in terms, rather than attack the castle, if you see what I mean.
This isn't like a recognizable dragon from history, is it? Or is it just kind of a...
You can absolutely have a history check with advantage, Dragon Boy. Seems fair.
Advantage?
You say it's made out of stone?
No, it is made of metal.
Okay, it's like forged. 18.
18. You are confident in your knowledge of famous dragons. You know, obviously, sort of the preeminent ones like Bahamut and Tiamat. This is clearly neither of them. And there have been countless other very well-documented, terrifying, tyrannical dragons over the years. This doesn't look like any of them, as far as you know. It's quite a slender and elegant dragon. Not particularly chunky. And looking at it, you would say probably carved out of, or cast or whatever, out of bronze or copper or something like that. Oh, you'd be able to tell if you got closer, but from here, that would be your guess.
I guess at a glance. Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. I was just saying. Also, there's a large building to the right, which appears to be a guardhouse, barracks type situation for the Drake's Guard. Drake's Warden. I feel like I may change their name occasionally. You know the ones I mean. Those chaps. They've got a place. It's that sort of larger building on the right of the plaza. That's it. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I guess as we come in to like start like seeing that, Silvarius, he'll slow down a little bit and kind of stare at the large statue, and you kind of like eyes the courtyard, eyes the Drake's Warden's quarters, and he'll just start approaching the statue if there's not too many people kind of like around and about. Really, he wants to approach and see if there's like, as he's observing it, trying to discern what it is, heading towards it to see if there's any kind of like information at the base of it, or if it's just a large statue.
Is there a dedication plaque?
Yeah.
Do you know what there is?
Oh.
Yeah. There's just 2 words written. Just says, the Deliverer.
For Silvarius's first time seeing that. The Deliverer.
Everything else?
Is
Don't
there any
like
tie-in? Is there any tie-in in memory of anything with the kobold, with this Deliverer dragon?
Ooh. We spent some time with those books that they
book.
had.
Yeah. Make a... I don't think you need to roll for this. So, thinking back, that specific term, the Deliverer, doesn't ring a bell, but the concept of a sort of like savior dragon type deal, that is familiar.
Just out of character curiosity, did Eska follow up too?
Follow up with what?
Up to the statue.
No.
Eli, knowing that she heard the Deliverer
Oh,
wording earlier, but
yeah, no, she's staying away from that.
Okay. And Silvaris, he'll just return to the group if they didn't follow him after he had a chance to observe that. And for the moment, just is silent unless asked.
I think if anything, Esker is trying to move on through the square as quickly as possible. I know we haven't done anything wrong per se, but her perception is we're kind of trying to be covert, and this is sort of the epicenter of people trying to find covert stuff. So her perception is get through this as fast as possible.
Phil, with
Hello.
Are there lots of passerbys just walking through this area?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's almost lunchtime. Probably some people have knocked off early to get lunch. So yeah, you're certainly. It's not like, you know, there's 6 of you there, and then just 40 guards watching you.
Okay, good.
There's definitely people milling through from. There's would it be? I guess 3 main entrances in. One of them sort of like you can see immediately forks afterwards. So it's essentially like 4 main streets that are leading into this courtyard, with then the additional exit of the castle itself, kind of making a 5th route out. I will say you see almost nobody actually going up towards the castle. There's probably only been, you know, if you think there's probably, in the time it's taken for you to kind of go over and have a look and assess the statue, there's probably been, you know, several dozen other people milling through. And of those, maybe 1 or 2 have actually gone up towards the gate.
What happens when they go up there?
What was that, James?
So what happens when they go up there?
And Bador would almost certainly be watching that with eager interest. You see as they come up, the guards sort of like form a barrier. And one of them steps forward and talks to whoever it is who approaches. There's a discussion. One of the people just hands something over and leaves. One of them hands something over. The guy reads it, and he says something. The guards part, and he is allowed to enter. The person who enters is, just to give an idea, human, dressed in a way that Bardo would literally not be seen dead in. Very sort of puffy sleeves, huge plume in his hat, bright colors, basically the antithesis of Bardurian couture. Definitely feels like some sort of pretentious noble. Well, some type of noble. I feel like Bardo probably thinks all nobles are pretentious, so that's an unnecessary addition.
There you go.
But yeah, so are you heading on to the other side then?
Yeah.
I
think so.
am.
Yeah, unless anyone else has anything.
I'm good to continue.
Bardor, give me another perception check, please. Okay.
Getting worse.
I
don't like this place.
It is slowly getting worse. You can feel the civilization just crowding you out. You feel pretty sure that nobody is following you at the moment. And as you turn down this final street, you see, finally, a large green space start to open up in front of you. The area is sort of the outside. It's basically just a large park. The outside is kind of like ringed with moderately spaced out trees. It's not like it's like a wall of trees. You can see through the gaps pretty comfortably. And inside there's just a nice expanse of well-maintained grass. You do see on what is the far side from where you're at right now, what looks like some sort of structure that's being built. Looks like maybe some sort of wooden seating structure is being put in place, right? Would comfortably seat hundreds, if not thousands, by the time it's finished. It's quite long, and appears to be, based on what you're seeing already, looks like they're intending to build quite a few rows of seats. Yeah, sitting in the shade of a willow a little way into the park, you see Colas and Tedda.
Now, assuming that we're walking towards them, so Varus will say to Eska before we get too close, he's just...
And what exactly is your approach?
How do you
he
mean?
went to the bathroom.
Eska, talk to me. Don't just stand there.
How do you mean?
Welcome back.
Eska pops out from behind a bush.
Sorry, guy.
What? What do you mean, my approach?
The two that we are meeting with. What are your limits with them? I do not want you to overshare.
I would see it as being whatever is hopeful in progressing our own journey. We have found nobody else who has experienced the same as us, and so any information we can get from them would be helpful. I will not share if I don't feel it's necessary, but we've run into a lot of dead ends, so if we can make any progress, good. If not, so be it. If you wish, you can do most of the talking.
Perhaps that is not a good idea if you want to get anywhere in the conversation.
He kind of like exhales. He's like,
I will let you do what you will until I decide it is no longer beneficial.
Very well. Let's eat then.
Alrighty. So you mosey on over to Ted and Colas, and you see Colas is just like propped up against the weeping willow happily. He's got a little flagon of something that he's drinking. And Tedda is perched on a small cask. And Tedda just looks over and sort of gives a half shrug of apology and says, we're better at finding liquid refreshment. Hopefully you managed to find some food somewhere.
Claire sees the cask. You can see the immediate shock go over her face as she realizes she completely forgot about purchasing her own fun beverage, and then quickly followed by immediate relief that there is fun beverage available for picnicking. And she'll happily scurry over with the picnic basket full of goodies and yeah, start helping to dole everything out.
Alrighty. So, food is distributed. The beverage is a fairly middling ale. Better than the swill you were subjected to last night. So, you know, I think you'd struggle to find worse. To those of you more sensitive to the quality of beers, this comes as a blessed relief. And yeah.
Are the pastries good?
See. Phew. Yeah, they're good. They're not amazing. But they're good.
So when we first walked up to them, Smokey would have gone over and introduced himself and apologized for not being quite as sociable the first night that we were all sitting by the fire.
And Carlos would say, I've had days like that, don't worry. You travel this lot often?
No.
I kind of picked up on not quite being as cohesive, shall we say. It's not no problem, just noticed is all.
Yes, I have only just met them.
Right. What do you think of them? And he's opening this quite loudly in front of everyone else.
There is a little bit of discourse, I think, because apparently there's something going on, but I don't know what it is, except they'll only tell me that they are sightseeing.
Well, that's funny. That's what we were doing today, wasn't it, Tedder? Yes, that's right. Sightseeing, looking for points of interest in and around the city. And we found some, didn't we? Aye.
Oh,
Did you also
you had
find some sights that you saw?
Yes, we saw some sights. I don't know if there was any that were that interesting, but you know, from a personal perspective, but I certainly found the city to be well, it has its own vibe to it.
That's freaky, right?
Not my personal taste.
I'd surely count watching a man getting arrested for doing a bit of magic as not very welcoming.
Huh. Well, we didn't see that. No, we didn't see that. Well, that's good to know.
So you don't know about not doing magic either.
I would no, first time. Right, you were asleep. You missed some of the conversation last night. Yes, we only recently arrived in the area. Having been, well, elsewhere. And, yeah, we just, heard a lot about it, figured we'd come check it out. Nobody told us about people being taken away for magic, though. We didn't really talk to anyone, did we? No, I guess that is on us for not researching a little more closely.
Yes,
So are
I'll be
you
honest.
guys from up north in the Dales too?
Well, no, not really. I grew up in the Sword Coast. And then, well, I've traveled everywhere, really. I've been in the Dales. Been up as far as, Neverwinter and Icewind Dale. Gone down far as Chult. Oh, did not like Chult. That is, no, not going back there. But, yeah, so, far-ranging, you could say.
Seems a bit strange to me that you would be so well traveled but never heard of this place.
We didn't say we hadn't heard of it, we just didn't know about the imprisonment for magic thing.
Interesting.
Hey, to break the tension, Eska will say, I wondered about maybe trying a different tack this afternoon. Maybe finding a local inn or tavern and chatting to the locals in a bit more of a friendly atmosphere.
Seems like a good plan. Feels like, yeah. People tend to get chatty once they've had a drink or two.
Yes, I feel like that would be a easier way than stopping people on the street and arousing suspicion. People are much more open in a drinking place.
Well, yeah. No, I think that's an excellent idea.
We're just trying to find out more about the place, Smokey. Did you find any places of interest?
Well, yes. I would say, near, under, around the Wormspire is a place of great interest.
Somewhere you might plan to go again?
Knowing what I know now, I think that would be risky.
Hmm.
Though not out of the question. So, tell me more about the person you saw arrested. How did they? What did he do that got him arrested? You just said use magic. What did he do?
Well, it wasn't the most savory situation. He was trying to perhaps charm someone into giving him a better deal.
And they took him away for that?
Yes.
Seemed a little dramatic. How did they know he was charming them?
It's those worms. The ones that are with the guards.
The weave worms.
Oh. I thought they were just sort of like, very fancy guard dogs or something. Not the case?
No. Super duper magic sensing abilities.
Oh. Right. Definitely makes me very hesitant to attempt to look at those places of interest then.
You know, since everything is mirrored here, though, is there a Fulruth with the same little old lady at the desk over here that we could ask for information on about weave worms and their range? And perfect opportunity for Savaris to go wait in line again somewhere.
Oh boy.
You should put that on your list of things to ask locals in the bar later.
Yeah, asking for a friend.
For a friend.
There's got to be some encyclopedias around here, though. Library.
Well, no, because remember in... Was it in Delzimer, there's no public libraries, right? Because all the rich people own everything, and it's just the Fulruth?
That sounds right, yeah. Fulruth is just sort of like a...
Like a by request information system.
Yes.
Gotta find one of those little running kids here.
And then, you know, there's probably institutions, if you have an inn, where you can get access to books. But, you know.
Really, I just like more opportunities for Sylvarius to get frustrated with like help desk people. So
yeah,
they really are the worst.
That's really all I want, is just him to have more opportunities to be frustrated.
Should have brought my squire with me.
Coas is just sort of like sitting there while Teta and kind of talking to everyone else. And just... So he doesn't know, right? That's the situation.
Is he talking about Smokey?
I don't know. What do you think?
I assume that's the way where it was just out of nowhere. So,
in fairness, he has previous for that sort of thing.
Yes. that seems to be the case.
Well, that's complicated.
Yes, but I
That
also
explains all the tippy-toeing.
I also feel like I don't know if that is a bad thing or not a bad thing.
That's true. That's true.
We've sort of assumed secrets must be kept, but I suppose actually we haven't entirely. We have mentioned it to a few people we have come to trust.
And you haven't been strung up or anything, so that's good.
Yes, they just seem bemused.
Hmm.
I mean, some people in our group don't want us to talk to anybody about it.
Squinty eyes.
So- Yeah, Carlos looks straight at Silverius when you say that. Aye. Well, I get that. It's weird. What's Smokey thinking while that conversation's happening?
Still seems pretty cryptic.
So Silvarius, he'll speak after the Silvarius comment, and yeah, just like to Colas, he's
And have you decided to share any of this information with others as well?
Well, not really. We don't have a great ease of sending messages to people. You know, long distance like. I did reach out to one friend. Someone a bit more adept in the arcane, to see if he could maybe enlighten us. I've not heard back. It could be. I don't know. Could be anywhere. We haven't touched base in a while, but you know, three of us used to fight alongside each other back in the day, so wouldn't surprise me if he'd be at the very least, you know, professional curiosity. I think surely would have to kick in at some point. So, aye, we'll see. That's it, really. And I didn't say much in the message that would give too much away.
I feel as a courtesy to you, it is worth telling you that somebody was watching us at the docks. Didn't recognize them. Didn't seem official. But since recent events, we have often found people keeping an eye on us. Have you experienced such things?
Don't know. And Taylor sort of pipes up and says, well, I thought maybe someone was watching earlier. I kind of just put it down to, you know, we may have just got the attention of one of the local groups. I don't know. There's probably some sort of underground criminal group. There always is in a city like this. And doubtless other factions besides the sort of visible law, if that's what these Drakeswarden are. Until I feel threatened with a group like that, I usually just sort of figure it's probably fine. I mean,
That's
we're
true.
not local, you know. They if they have a sizable network in town, someone probably picked us up on the way in through the gate. Would be my guess.
Perhaps it was just a member of the Satin Mittens or something. I didn't think about that.
The what?
Oh, you know, local groups.
Right. Okay.
They have silly names like that.
Mittens?
Yeah, the Satin Mittens.
Satin mittens? Okay, sure. That... tend to hear them go by things like vipers or, you know, under rats or, you know, it's a... Satin mitten seems a little bit more upmarket than I'm used to, but there are some nice areas in town, so I don't see why not.
They're a competitive crochet group. Very competitive.
So, what is this thing that you guys keep sometimes telling strangers, sometimes not telling strangers, sometimes not telling people who are with you, sometimes telling people who are with you? What is this somewhat secret, but not so secret? Secret. Seems some sort of experience that you are experiencing, but maybe others are not experiencing. I don't understand.
Well, right now we are all experiencing sitting on this island.
But at the
Right?
same time, seems that we are experiencing different things.
Well, not long ago, we would have been. You would have been sitting on this island, but we would have been drowning.
So Arius opens up his mouth. He's like,
What you are experiencing is what we are experiencing. You have secrets that you are not telling us. We have secrets we are not telling you.
Yeah, but at least I'm not talking about them in cryptic ways in front of you.
Maybe some of our secrets are more important.
Personally, I'm okay if you want to speak in cryptic ways about it. That sounds fun. Say something cryptic about your secret.
No.
Ah. Well, how about
Just sort of
this?
looks over.
If we tell you ours, you tell us yours.
Colas chuckles a little.
That didn't sound creepy at all.
Okay.
This island does not exist.
Smokey
Sort
just
of.
kind of like looks around and he's like, but it does. I know about it.
To us, not long ago, but a few weeks ago, it was not here. And then it appeared. We are trying to work out why.
Yeah.
That can't be
That's-
it. You guys are pulling my tail. And he grabs his tail.
No. The little girl speaks true. We also knew the island didn't exist. Oh, that's weirdly worded. We recently discovered that everybody knew about this island apart from us.
Perhaps you have been brainwashed in some way.
No. Got counter charms for that now. Had that happen too often in the past. Hurt some people, actually.
It would make a lot more sense if we had just... You know what? I do not know anymore. But it is interesting that we met fellow people here who share our madness.
You know, I don't think we've really talked about... Well, we talked a little about how... Because you were here.
Yes,
Right?
we were within sight.
You were there. And then... No island. And then island.
Indeed.
As in you saw it form?
There was a slight gap.
A gap in your memory? What do you mean?
Honestly, it is hard to say. It was just everything went white. And then it was there when we came to.
You passed out?
I do not know.
This sounds like mind trickery.
I partially believe it is. I just don't know if it was us that was mind tricked or the rest of the world.
Small group of people, the world, I think you guys.
That doesn't explain us, though.
Captain Addard put you in a position you did not desire to be. We were equally placed in a precarious position.
He said that was Smokey.
Okay.
I'm just going to be eating that during the entire conversation and smoking my pipe.
Sure. See, but you know, I don't know how to respond to that.
We were almost involuntarily sent here by someone. You could say.
To explore?
We don't know.
Smokey just scratches his head.
Let's just say that we all are, or were, chosen, and to a degree volunteered. And when we find ourselves united towards a cause.
What causes that exactly?
Somewhat adjacent to yours, I am assuming. Finding out why, and perhaps a bit more.
It felt important that, not to us, but it felt important that we know that the island was not there. And that is confusing in itself. Why did we need to know? What does this knowledge mean? What are we supposed to do with it? These are the questions we are trying to ask. And the reason we are here is because on land we had really run into a lot of trouble finding out much about the island. It felt like to know why it was here, we had to come here and begin to explore.
See.
Whether it has been here all along or not, for us it hasn't been, and we don't know if that is because we are displaced, or if time has changed, or if the island grew out of the sea and everybody suddenly knew it was there. Right now I still think there are more questions than answers.
As you're sort of pondering that, you see a group of 3 or 4 people dressed in sort of muted greens and yellows heading over towards you. They have one Drake's Warden sort of trailing behind.
Wait, there's a group of people with Drake's Warden trailing?
It's like three or 4 people. Like, well, it's 4 people. Wearing muted greens and yellows. Heading over towards the group of you clustered around the tree. And then, so 3 or 4 people in like, sort of regular clothes, just patterned in greens and yellows. And then they have one Drake's Warden who's sort of walking behind them. But they're heading over towards you.
Do they look like officials or townfolk, or?
They have the air of some sort of officialness about them. The one who's sort of at the front definitely is keeping their nose at a slightly preposterous angle. Distinctly snooty.
And they look like they're heading directly at us, obviously.
Absolutely.
Oh boy.
Straight at you.
Time to start packing up the picnic. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
This was fun.
Been fun. Got to go now.
Yeah, I reckon upon noticing that if no one else said anything, Savaris would just be like...
We seem to have garnered the attention of someone.
I guess.
That can't be good.
I guess stay calm. There's not much we can do now, apart from talk our way out of whatever it may be.
Is eating in the park illegal too?
Hopefully that's all it is.
They're like 10 seconds away.
Oh man.
God. Wait, who's not over 21? We've been drinking in the park.
They are right up with you, and the snooty one sort of steps forward and looks down at your little motley crew and says, "All right, clear off. You're not supposed to be eating here today. I thought everybody got the message. Great Green is closed while we are working on getting it ready for the festivities."
Ooh, festivities? I haven't heard of these.
Haven't heard of them?
We only just arrived.
It must be the day of deliverance?
Right. I'm glad one of you knows what day it is. Yes. We'll be having the jousting and so forth. So we need to clear the space so we can continue getting it ready. You are unwelcome. Find somewhere else to be. Perhaps you would be more comfortable over at Wheat Green. It seems more your speed.
Our sincerest apologies.
And he turns to walk off and just gestures to the guard and says, give them a hurry up, won't you? And I think that's where we'll end tonight's session.
We weren't supposed to be eating there.
It was the picnic permit
It was
all
the
along.
picnic permit.
We all just run off in 20 different directions.
Scatter like roaches.
Yeah.
Ah! They can't catch us all. There's only 5 of them.